Howdy, y'all. We made it. We did it. Mainstream ran a little late, but that's okay because, there was a lot to discuss, and who doesn't need a little more break? I've got a super chat from the main show I need to get to pretty quickly. I did want to say some quick hellos. As a reminder, if you leave chats on this channel, they're more likely to be seen. Why is the sky big? Look, slower. Mr. Cuber, they tried a smaller sky. It didn't work. It was worth a shot. Good money saving opportunity. I didn't see all of the chats as they were coming in. There's too many. So, I didn't notice a lot of political stuff, at least on my channel. Herbert's channel gets a lot more political than mine. People apparently like that. It's not for me. It's hard to not get political for obvious reasons. People do get hard for politics. I get it. And you're a moderate. David says, cool and breezy. Brian must be freezy. Yeah, it is. I shall show you, as I sometimes do, just how freezy it is. A little almost up to 40 degrees in my office. Yes, I do have heat. It is an impossible space to heat with my space heater. It is not insulated, and it is a large space. I'm basically in the great out of doors. So we will get to all of that. Let's see. Do I still have heat? Yes. But just barely. Just barely. Plastic lemon tree's going to freeze. Let's see. Okay, you're not late. And ad hominem attacks are so gay. And by the way, David had said something earlier that made me think, yeah, we got to hang out. We haven't visited since July. Got to hang out, man. Hey, my dude. $2 for the heating pad for your butt. I'd considered one. I used to have one, but one time I sat on it too long and it burnt my legs. So I'm careful about that. Let's jump over here, shall we? Jim Dennis wants to know, previously there was a concern if FSD could understand hand signals. Yes. That is one reason I will sometimes disengage, is a pedestrian will walk up and be like, my car, if it knows what that means, it is not willing to act upon it just yet. But Jim's question is, great, but can the car communicate the other direction? Yes, it can. But let's discuss how. Back in the days before automatic headlights, a common way to signal somebody, if you couldn't do a hand gesture or they might not see it, was to just click off your headlights. Like click, click, and they would see you just kind of wink at them. And I think that's something you could do with the light bar, not even the headlights, just like flash off the light bar a couple times as a, just like slow down for the pedestrian, flash, flash. I think the pedestrian would understand. Then the question becomes, from a regulatory perspective, can you do that? And that's an impossible question. I do not know the answer to that. I do not know if the answer to that is known. But yes, I'm going to say yes. There's another question someone had asked, how will I know which cybercab is mine at the airport if they all look the same? And I guess one answer to that could be, it doesn't matter, just get in one. If there's two there and two people waiting, get in. If the app says your cybercab is ready, you walk up to one, the ultra wideband Bluetooth will know that it's you standing at the car, and then it will open the door. If the door doesn't open, it's not your car. Because if there's 6 people waiting and only 2 there, the first 2 people are permitted to get in, the next 2 are not. Let's not start a fight in front of the bar at 2 a.m. That's going to happen. That is absolutely going to happen. I hope it doesn't. It will. Because humans do human things. As someone else had mentioned in today's chat. I may have to sneeze momentarily. If I do, please forgive me. Thank you, Ricardo. I appreciate that. I know you had asked questions on the other show. We will try and get to those. I don't remember what they are now, but we will look for them here. Leaving early, like, that was me saying that, and I was right. And hello to all who are here. J Lizard, Bazanime, maybe. And you can see it here now. Love your channel, bro. Thank you. I appreciate that. I say mute and enjoy the sneeze. I would. It's just not there. It's not time. No sneeze before it's time. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Hit like. Good to see everybody. Hit like. Yes. There is a video coming up tomorrow with Herbert about talking us down from the ledge. Is this all doom and gloom? Is the story over? Of course not. But we have some perspective to share about that. Did anyone buy more stock these past few days? Somebody. Picked up a few shares yesterday. They also said we'd see a flying car. Yeah. I forgot to buy. I wanted to. I bought a ton yesterday. Many of the original cybercabs are at tours around the world being displayed at Tesla centers. Correct. True. If you get a chance to see it, do that. I know a Better Route Planner at one point had a page up tracking where they all were. I don't know if they still have it running because it changes constantly. But we're seeing a bunch of them out there. And I think the ones we're seeing in testing are not the original 19, but the second slightly improved version. And by improved, I just mean that these are the ones that have not an improvement that you or I would perceive, but it changes to how they're designed for manufacturability. Mostly I just hold. I do too. I cannot do short-term trading. When I first got into the stock, I thought, ooh, I should dip in and out, but I would kind of paper trade in my head, and my paper trades were not good because as much insight as I have, it doesn't help. If I know with a high degree of confidence what the production and delivery numbers are going to be, that doesn't mean that I know which direction the stock is going to move. And I've seen people accuse me and say, oh, Tesla leaks the numbers to all these people. That's why they're so accurate. Is it? Because we all show our methods and we all use different methods. And sometimes we're not all right. Mr. Kuber says, I really wish NHTSA would let us replace the horn sound. By the way, also on 13.2.2, I got 13.2.7 last night. And this morning had a couple of pretty hairy experiences. It decided to cut around a truck at a stoplight and almost hit him. I disengaged. I am confident I would have clipped his bumper. And then I pointed into the rising sun and it said, I can't see Jack. You got to take the wheel. I've cleaned off all my cameras since then. I'll be doing a proper drive with cameras this time to determine it. NHTSA's got some dumb rules. Why can't I change my horn? Why can't I change my parking lot tone? I'd like to have a custom drive tone. If I want Jetsons, let me have Jetsons. If I want TIE Fighter or, that sound that they make when running in Scooby-Doo, what is that sound? I'd like to know where that came from. If anybody in the chat knows what the heck that Scooby-Doo sound is, let me know. And what do? I click this. There we go. Now I can see what I'm doing. Oh, right, this one. Okay. Well, of course. There we go. That's this one, right? Yes. Okay. AMC Paper Grin. I liked the look of the Pacer. Can't say the same about the Gremlin. Fair point. Oh yeah, that's right. I have to remember. Don't let me forget to show the trailer for the play. I've got it here. I think I know where it is. Is it here? Is it here? It's here somewhere. Oh no, where? There it is. Found it. Okay, we'll get to that. It's not time. It's not time, but be excited. The guy who came in and did it, Drake from Soup Productions. Oh, he's very good. He's very good. You could tell when he was shooting that it was going to be, and it was. You'll see. Pricing will be the only grand opening they need. I agree. Do you remember what Google's original ad campaign was? They didn't have one because the product was so good that the consumer base scaled faster, as fast as they could keep up with. Cybertruck needed over half a year to get FSD ready. Different vehicles have different physics, turn radiuses, etc. Matt, very good point. I asked the Cybercab engineers, how much time does it take to dial it in? And they said, almost none. I said, really? Because, Cybertruck took forever. And he said, right, because it's not because it was bigger. It's because it had rear steering and steer-by-wire with variable steering. The entire driving dynamic was different. I said, so if a manufacturer wanted to license it, would it take years to get the training data? He said, no, those are just cars. It was just because of the Cybertruck, according to the engineers. Maybe they lied to me. I don't think they did, but maybe. Yes, good to see DRK. DRK is a tremendous asset to the community, moderating on so many channels. My channel doesn't get terribly inundated. I haven't had problems with spammers and scammers in quite some time. Even if Tesla will match the Uber or slightly overprices, people will still be crowding to take a ride in it. Well, figure that if it's 10% more, that's just the tip. That you're not going to tip a robot. Why would you? Sounds like my wife. Big to-do lists. I don't know what that's in reference to, but I get it. They could build the app into X. I don't know. I know there's a limit to how large you want an app to be, and there may be a limit to how large an app can be, where that's why Facebook and Messenger are broken into two, is because they both want to just hog the heck out of your system. So I don't know how that works. And I do think they would at least initially want to keep them separate until it absolutely is an everything app, but I don't know. Raining in Alabama. Plan to be in San Diego next week. And it looks to be having glorious 50 to 65 degree weather. Jealous. I'm jealous. I go nowhere warm. Chattanooga should be pretty decent in March when I go there, where I will also be seeing you, Mr. Cuba. I used to look forward to shareholder meetings, not anymore. Okay. Because of Elon. Well, that's unfortunate. But I understand. And there was some discussion in here about TB being overly negative, and sentiment has shifted. Elon had built himself as a brand of one particular kind, and then he shifted to a different kind. And that is going to upset people. People have the right to be upset by that. You have the right to free speech, but you don't have the right to be immune to consequences of those speech, of your speech. Whatever it is you say, people have the right to hear it, and hear it in the way that they hear it. That's just reality. And there's to me, a world of difference between just speaking your mind and saying terrible things. You don't have to, if what's on your mind is terrible things, maybe don't speak your mind. And I'm not saying that about Elon, but I'm saying that about a lot of people who brand themselves as just speaking their mind. Are we the baddies? Let's, in the case of a lot of very loud, talking heads that you might see on television or social media, a lot of these people are not interested in actually conveying a message. They're interested in advancing their personal brand at any cost to their mortal soul. And I would be more successful if I was willing to mortgage my soul, but I'm not. And Charles, of course, said Brian is great. He's so enthusiastic on all things Tesla, to which I had to ask, Brian W. or Brian W. So it's just we just got to clarify. Let's see here. I know we've got questions here I needed to address. Both. If the name is Brian, they rule the world. Sweet. 2BHW. That's who was hosting. There was a joke somebody made. I don't remember who it was, saying that, it's the old guys and Herbert. Herbert's older than me. But I think he applies 3 or 4 filters. I only apply 1. And makeup. Let's see. I see. Now we're into the squabbling. Let's not do that. Play nice, y'all, says me. There's too much to get here, but I will get through it. We're doing fine. We're doing fine. I said he's frustrated. A lot of us are. Yeah. Will the ride sharing have a tab on X or the Tesla app? Well, I think for a start, it would be on the Tesla app, because while X has billions of users, they're not sufficiently targeted. Tesla has millions of users who are ideally targeted. These are people who already drive electric cars. These are people who may or may not own a Tesla. They may have another car for which they have the Tesla app so they can charge on the network. I think that is the perfect use case. And like I said on the previous show, if you're out of town, if it sees you go to an airport, fly to another airport, it can say, hey, welcome to Tuscaloosa. Would you like to hail a ride? We've got 3 cybercabs waiting. Oh, let's not poke each other, you guys. Nice group. Looks like senior day. That's where it was, except for Herbert. I wasn't this old before, I should point out. I wasn't born this age. On my resume for the play, for my audition, I put on there my experience, but I put the dates. I put the actual dates. I didn't try and pretend I'm younger than I am. And under special skills, I put honest to a degree that permits me to use the dates on my resume, even though they're from the 1900s. To Brian W., $5 to clean a car. I thought the Civil War ended slavery. It depends on the volume. And especially if it's going to be robo-cleaned, $5 is reasonable. For a robo-cleaning at volume, reasonable. I get a hand car wash in my town for, I think, $12 or $15. Hand car wash. And we have a minimum wage of like $16.70, it's high. And it's not because they're not paying them, 16, 17 bucks an hour, 20 probably. It's because they're so efficient and they do them nonstop all day. They just swarm the vehicle, hit all 4 corners, boom, you're out the door. So efficiency is key. Scale is key. It's a great question. Uber accumulated massive debt from having to engage in lawfare to force deregulation. They have to service that debt. There was a lot of regulations they had to deal with in a lot of places. But I would still argue that Uber is horribly mismanaged, grossly mismanaged. I've had experiences with them in cities where you go to the airport, you request a ride, and no one will pick you up unless you go off app and pay them 10 times what the fare is supposed to be. Maybe not 10 times, maybe 8 times what the fare is supposed to be. And Uber somehow doesn't realize that every day hundreds of people request rides and 0 get picked up. How? You're destroying your own brand. You're making your customers mistrust you. You're letting your riders rip you off. No. And the riders say, well, we only do it because we don't get paid enough. Demand more pay? I mean, you guys can obviously organize. You can obviously work together as a team. That we know because I can't get a ride. So I took a taxi. To hell with those guys. Same thing when I tried to go back to the airport because it was from a part of town that was strictly touristy and it was the middle of the night. Everyone's like, oh, I know what this is. 4 a.m. pickup. This guy's going to the airport. And the first 2 I connected with were like, nope, go off app and give me, $80 instead of 15. And I was like, buddy, I don't have any money. I don't have money on me. The money, and I'm not, So the third guy did pick me up. And when I got to the airport, I tipped him with the remainder of my Dominican money, which was probably 20, 30 bucks. So I got like a $20, $30 tip for not being a jerk. Point is, Uber should recognize this. They don't. Gross mismanagement. I have too many apps as is. I want to get to, there was some comments. Oh, I'm really questioning. Deller asks some difficult questions. Easily mistaken for a troll. It might be a troll, but the questions are good. I'm really questioning, can you upgrade an older Tesla computer? The price would be outrageous. It wouldn't. The hardware is only going to be like $1,000. And the labor, if you or I hired someone from a little shop to figure it out, would be prohibitive, but it's not. It's somebody who's done it 100 times, 1,000 times. And if everybody's doing it at once, they might set up a little pop-up facility a block down where they do nothing but that. So the labor cost would be an hour. So you're talking $50, $100 for labor and parts, plus 1,000. So it would not be outrageous. And that's against someone who already gave you between $8,000 and $15,000, or is now giving you $8,000 and $15,000. Or, I mean, we don't know. Right now it's 8. Images are blurred. I don't know what that's about. Hardware upgrade price for non-FSD owners will fluctuate a lot. Exactly. That is exactly right. You do realize that traffic will get worse. That was a great comment, a great point, and I wanted to address it because I do think we can move deliveries to nighttime. Not with humans, but with Optimus. And I think Optimus and autonomous cybercabs will be arriving at roughly the same time. Even if you shift some of those deliveries to the overnight, and this will change the business case for a lot of these companies. You're going to be on the road when no one else is. It's going to look different at night than it does during the day. And that's okay. And these are all, it's taking advantage. It's better utilizing existing, systems. Trains are efficient at moving lots of people. Yeah, I disagree with Randy that the people who are taking a $3 bus ride across town are going to take a cab instead. I don't see that being useful. And trains are very efficient. In places where mass transit exists and runs at or near capacity, it is irreplaceable. You can't even replace it with a boring tunnel. I've had very, very dumb people argue with me on that. One who is very well known, but he is, despite his fame, a tremendous dumbass, who was saying, oh no, boring tunnels are the solution. They should have them in, and I won't say which city because it would just, you'd figure out who I'm talking about. But he said, oh yeah, they should put them in this city. I'm like, right, they already have a very effective train system. No, Brian, you don't understand boring tunnels. Come on. I get that he doesn't watch my channel, but that's really, really dumb. Boring tunnels are good for small to medium cities. They would not work in New York City, for example, or Paris, or any very dense city. I said, let's discuss it in the after show, which we have just done. We do have this to mention. Honest and objective. I try to be. That is what I'm going for. It does not always pay dividends, which reminds me, subscribe. I'm really trying to hit 100,000 this year. And my promise to y'all is that when I hit 100,000, I'll stop begging. Because 100,000 is the benchmark. There's no benchmark beyond that except, like 1 million. And I'm not worried about hitting that ever, let alone anytime soon. So that would be fantastic. I appreciate that. Thank you, TB. Where are we? We're here. Let's see. I think we can kind of wrap this up. Did Randy buy a Cybertruck? He has not. He has I think a 3 and a Y. I think he's got a 3 and a Y. One for him, one for his wife. Pretty sure that's their setup. And I think Randy did a great job filling in today. Looking forward to seeing Nick back next week. I was supposed to meet up with him on Sunday. He was in town-ish. I mean, he was 2 hours away from my town. That's not his fault. That's my fault. But I didn't realize when we scheduled it that it was the day of the Super Bowl. And I already had plans in Portland. I can't do Portland and Seattle at the same time due to the general rules of space and time. So that's unfortunate. I do need to jump back to this chat because I am far behind. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I'm so far behind. Ricardo, if there was something you'd said in the main chat that I didn't get to, please post it again here and I will get to it before we go. I promise. We'll get Slower Cuber did say, imagine boring tunnels in Venice. Perhaps they could use submarine gondoliers. gondoliers. So I think you can tunnel. The big dig goes under the harbor. You can tunnel under silt. It just adds complications. And the boring machines, as I understand, the TBMs they're using are not currently configured for that, but that is kind of funny. Let's see. Oh boy. Tesla pays about 32 cents per kilowatt for the supercharger nearest my ex. They charge 45 cents. How do you know they pay 32 cents? I'd be curious because commercial rates are generally substantially lower than consumer rates, than residential rates. So, but I know there was a supercharger in Vancouver, BC at the mall, Vancouver, Washington at the mall that was charging 12 cents a kilowatt hour at night for the longest time. And I think now it's gone up to 20 cents. I know they're not paying 20 cents for that power. They're probably paying 7 or 8 cents, which is why 12 cents made sense. But hey, what are you going to do? I get it. No politics. Yeah. I don't have time for it. And with politics, half of you are wrong and the other half are very angry about it. Blah. Matrix headlights displays messages on road. That would be very cool if that's something that they've set up. But how does that work during the day? During the day, I don't think that would work as well. 79 in Florida. Amy, box it up and send it. Sometimes when I'm really chilly, I have spicy soup. Grok could shout at them in a New York dialect. That's wonderful. That's a very good idea. That's how cars communicate at singles bars. They wink, wink. Love it. What a great idea. How is Tesla really being run now that Elon is about the 5th most powerful person in the world? Well, we had Investor Day. Was that last year? Where we got to see or was it the year before? Where we got to see the full bench of executives who do all of the departmental work. We've got brilliant people on board. Those are the people running it on a day-to-day basis. Wow. We are going to get there. Shout out to the flippity flop. Tesla always rests until March 15th and then rockets. Hey, we all need a break sometimes, man. I'm told. I don't know. He's no Jim Cramer. Oh. Flying cars equals a helicopter. They're too loud. Even a giant drone has to displace its weight in air. Flying cars equals dumb. I have to agree. There's a lot of things that don't make sense about flying cars. If we had anti-gravity, if they could just hover like in a video game, that'd be awesome. But even then, there would be serious safety challenges. Brian is Tesla share retentive. Correct. I'm not quite, I'd prefer to be a hoarder, a Tesla share hoarder, but that hobby is expensive. If you thought about city to city robotaxi, Uber can't do this because it leaves the human trapped in another city. Brian Rashetsky had sent me a DM about this, and I said, that's brilliant. And he's right. He said in the message, in the DM, he said, just like the U-Haul, leave it in that city. Don't bring it back. Let it stay there and make money. Well, and I said, but I want my car back. It's time for me to go home from work. Take a different one, my friend. They're all the same. We got to rethink it a bit. There will come a time, maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, where someone needs to go back to your city and then it can do the drive then, or it can just come back after it's done making hay while the sun shines. Any car can fly, at least for a bit, and predominantly down. Yeah, there's a trick to that. It's like, I don't know if you know this, but I can stop a bullet. I mean, just one, but, trough is deepest before the rise. Yeah, yes. I mean, by definition, that's true. Burgermeister, bureaucracy. All right. But the gremlin was in Terminator. Yeah. How'd that work out for humankind? We enjoyed the fact that there were 3 different Terminator 3s that just kind of all existed in isolation from each other. people should be able to pick their alarm sounds. Yeah, yeah. I bought some options around 380. Yeah, I can't help you on options. It's scary, difficult. Am I going to the Robotaxi cybercab launch in June? Do you think they organize something? If they organize something, I will try very hard to be there. I will be back from Mexico in the middle of May, and I won't be leaving for Muskegon until June 13th. If it happens before or after the Muskegon thing, I can absolutely be there. But if it happens the same weekend, I'm committed to Muskegon. They are my peeps, and my word is my bond. I will be there. So if you can't count on, if everyone's going to bail just because of that, what are we doing? And I'm too important to them. But I would, I'm sure this will be the one where I get an invitation. Do you think Tesla has a robotaxi future in China? Because China being China. Don't know. Too soon to say. We'll have to wait and see how it performs when it comes out. I don't see why not, but I can't see why not. And I can't see the obstacles from here. And there's DRK. Hello. And there's Matt. Ridehail will probably show up in the Tesla app. I think so. The problem is if you get an app that does too many everythings, you run out of buttons to make it easy to navigate. You want everything to be navigable within 2 screens of the homepage. Already there's a lot of things like that are a little bit deeper, but I manage. How long did it take for Waymo to get allowed full service? Will you pay extra for that? I don't know. It's been a long, long time, though. It took them years and years. And I don't think they were completely honest with how autonomous the system was. T-Mobile and Starlink killer. Oh, T-Mobile and Starlink killer. Someone had asked me, do you think cybercabs are going to have Starlink so that if for some reason they are out of reception, they don't have to drive back to reception to find out their route or their next fare? And my thought is, it's already 5G equipped. If it can see the sky, it can pick up the data signal, and there you go. You're right back in business. You don't need to have a full Starlink to do that, or even a mini. But I mean, they could do a mini. No reason they couldn't. Don't sell your soul. All right. The lemons add 10 years. Starlink and Tesla cars. To a degree, whether it's with the mini or just with the cell signal, why wouldn't you? Were you on hurry mode? I was not. I was on standard. I've only used hurry mode once, and I thought it worked really well. It drove the way I would in a hurry. I haven't tried chill, but no, it was very surprising. I didn't have cameras rolling, so I'm not going to, but I will put the cameras in and do it again. Celtic, Irish, Gaelic origin, and the meaning of Brian is high and noble. I am of Irish origin. I am the last generation of my family who is eligible for dual citizenship, but it's prohibitively expensive. And at my age, I'm not sure if I need it. I don't know what I would get from it. So, well, you might get a faster line at some airports. Yeah, but I'm traveling with my family and they don't have it, so I guess I'll see you guys outside. What is Kanye's brand then? Being offensive. That is his brand, is being offensive. He is of the belief that any press is good press. I disagree with that. We do have this comment. Some of my colleagues drive 2 hours by bus/car to get to the office, 4 hours a day. Cybercab would offer more comfort? Yes. I had a video yesterday talking about the black cab, the London black cab, and how Cybercab could demolish it. And people said, well, yeah, but the black cab's more comfortable. Is it? I disagree. I've sat in both. The black cab is fine. It's got a higher roof, but who cares? What it doesn't have is a big TV and an awesome sound system. That's comfort. That's more comfort. And while the seats in the cybercab don't recline a whole lot, the seats in the black cab don't move, except for the one that folds down. And while you can fit 5 people, you cannot fit 5 people plus luggage. That's not possible. So yes, it would be more comfortable. The question is, would it be cheap enough in your market at the time that it matters? And the answer to that is eventually. We don't know when. I don't know when. I bet Jim Farley won't mind taking a cybercab from the airport to a hotel. He seems pretty based. Jim Farley is open-minded. Jim Farley gets it. Of all the CEOs, I think he's among the few remaining who actually understand what's going on. Herbert Diess did, and then he was removed. So I wonder when we'll find out that Austin has approved cybercab. Hopefully sometime before June. If there's a process to the approval, I don't think they're eligible to apply yet. I think it has to be ready for them to apply. But I think there's enough interest that they could motivate Austin to fast track the approval if it requires it. It might just be that it's de facto approved unless otherwise stated, as long as it's sufficiently insured. When will we find out? Yes. Pit stop, Team Robo. Let's see. Jokers are complaining that he doesn't know coding. My response, why does a CEO need to code in the first place? A CEO doesn't need to code, but he's going out and making very bold, very inflammatory statements about code, for which it appears he is mistaken. And it's making people very angry at the wrong people. Very angry about things that they don't understand because the only information they have is from someone else who didn't understand. And it's reckless and dangerous. And it's if everything we're doing today is legal, be perfectly clear. People you do not like and do not trust will decide that it's okay for them to do it in the future. So just because something bad is done, ends justify the means kind of thing. If procedures aren't followed and it is determined that that's okay and procedures don't need to be followed, shit's going to get weird. I'd say he is an engineer. I'd say that enough engineers who have worked with him and observed him in that environment have said that he's an engineer, that I would side with them, with Sandy and with the other engineers. I would side with them. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What he's good at, what he's very, very good at, is bringing the right people together in the right place at the right time. And I've met enough Tesla engineers to say any company would kill to get people like this on board. And the problem is sometimes they do. Sometimes like, oh, we'll give you $1 million. Come over. I don't know what they pay. Not that probably, but we'll pay you $1 kajillion. And then they handcuff them and say, no, do the one thing we wanted done, which is, of course, ridiculous. Minimum wage in Texas is federal $7.56. I think you mean $7.25. What is worse is the federal minimum wage for waitresses less than $3 an hour. It has not been raised since the 80s. In my state, minimum wage for a waiter, for a server, is state minimum wage, $16.80, whatever it is, plus tips. So when you come to Washington State and you go to a restaurant, the service you get is generally amazing because these people make money. They make more money probably than some doctors. $7.25. Yeah. You'd also have to upgrade the camera in addition to the computer. Not necessarily. There are reasons you want the higher resolution. It is not necessarily true that you need the resolution. But it may be. But even still, when you've done something 100 times, you get very quick at it. It could still be an hour job. Wish there were more materials interviews out there from people who really can speak about it. I've seen 3 people who actually has real knowledge about him, but still not enough for haters, sadly. Let's see. Well, yeah, he doesn't take those interviews. He goes on, he'll give 3 hours to the Babylon Bee, who has no idea what his products are, what his companies really do or anything about engineering, and they'll just shoot the breeze. People enjoy that. And then you get serious engineering channels wanting to ask serious questions. Dr. Know-It-All was promised an interview almost 2 years ago. It's not going to happen. Rob Maurer from Tesla Daily was promised an interview 5 years ago. It never happened. Rob no longer produces content on YouTube, except on very rare occasion. It's never going to happen. But, he'll go back on the Babylon Bee a second time to get questions about other things. So he doesn't do those interviews. It'd be nice. It would be nice. Like Jay Leno getting to see the Model Y. I enjoy Jay Leno's Garage. I think it's a fun show. It's clear that Jay is very passionate about automobiles. It is also clear that Jay Leno doesn't know anything about Teslas. And what I posted on X in response to that was, think of how awesome an interview like this could have been with Lars, with Franz, if it was someone who actually loved Tesla. But they don't do those. So it's very frustrating. I'm going to have to, let's see, we're already at 41 minutes. We got to cap it. Let's jump to here because it's showtime. Tell me if you can hear it in the chat.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, murder in the first degree, premeditated homicide, is the most serious charge tried in our criminal courts. You have heard a long and complex case. It is now your duty to sit down to try and separate the facts from the fancy. One man is dead. The life of another is at stake. Whichever way you decide, the verdict must be unanimous. I urge you to deliberate honestly and thoughtfully. You are faced with a grave responsibility. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So there you go. That's what I'm up to. That's what I'm doing. The non-vergers is what HEC has to say about that. Yeah, guys, thanks for hanging out. Sorry it ran a little long, but you asked too many good questions, and I had to address as many as I could. Thank you all for hanging out. If you want to subscribe, you can. If you want to support me, you can. If you're finally ready to take the plunge and get yourself some wheels, you can do that too. I've got, I think, 2 or 3 referrals left, which is awesome. Thank you all to those who have used them. Yeah, and it's great. What am I doing? Leave a comment. If you got it this far, you can leave a comment, you can like, you can subscribe, you can do all those things. And everybody else, stay tuned. Stay juicy. And I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots at the play.